Yay! And we are live, guys. Hi, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Digital Horizons, breaking boundaries across borders. My name is Deborah King. I'm an online business owner and mentor. Amma and I are your hosts for today, and we have created this space for those that are looking for a better way of life for themselves and their families, and to show you that there is a solution to your financial hardships, struggles, and that constant battle to stay above water. It's becoming more and more difficult with the cost of living, and people are just tired and fed up of looking for a solution. But we're here to tell you that we actually have a solution. Now, guys, this is our second episode of Digital Horizons, and we are very, very excited about this particular one because we have two very, very special guests with us today. One who is new to the business, and one who is very, very established and has already hit her major milestone in her business. So I'm going to let Amma introduce herself. Over to you, Amma.
Thank you, Debs. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Sorry, I had to pause and I will apologize straight off. I'm not 100% my voice. Thank you for watching Digital Horizons. This is what happens each year I get younger. I have to pause. Like Deb said, my name is Amma. I'm originally from Ghana. That's where I was born. But I reside in the UK. Well, I've resided in the UK from a very young age. I am a mum to a super fabulous young man. I'm also a carer because my son, he does have additional needs. And I work in the public sector as well as run my own digital business and mentoring. Do let us know where you are watching from. Let us know who you are so that we can just show our appreciation and give you a massive, massive shout out. And we do hope that you are going to enjoy tonight's chat. I am going to let Sis Barbara introduce herself.
Mhm. Hello, everyone. My name is Barbara, and I want to say, oh my God, I want to
Okay, go ahead.
hold on. Again, my name is Barbara, and I want to say good evening, good morning, wherever you're tuning in from. I'm kind of nervous, believe me. I've been doing this business for so long, but I'm still nervous. Um, I'm a wife, a mother. I'm also a grandmother of four, mother of four, grandmother of six. I used to be a Uber driver, a realtor, a nursing assistant, a Lyft driver, a DoorDash driver. You name all of them. I used to do all of that, but no, I am a proud, successful business owner.
That is
That is amazing.
amazing. It is amazing. Sis Geraldine, would you like to introduce yourself to the viewers?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Geraldine Robinson. I'm a mother of two and a grandmother. I'm a wife, and I work in the healthcare sector. Um, yeah, that's me.
Short and sweet.
Okay, so I should probably introduce myself properly. I know I've introduced my name, but that's
Before you do, we actually have Adisa watching. Thank you so much for tuning in, Adisa. Enjoy the chat.
so. For those of you that don't know me, I've already said that my name is Deborah King. I'm originally from the UK, but I now live here in Jamaica. I'm a wife, a mum to a 36-year-old handsome son.
Mhm.
Yeah, he still lives in London. I'm an ex finance officer. I used to work in the finance industry for 16 years, and then I found this online business. So that's a very quick snippet of of myself. So, guys, the reason why we wanted to create this show was to just show people that there is more to life. Okay, we have found this online business which has been incredible for all of us here, and we just wanted to show everyone that we are just ordinary individuals striving for a better way of life. Okay, and as I said, we have actually found that solution, and that solution is here. So every week we're going to be inviting guests on the show, and they're going to share their stories with everybody. Okay, so I'm very excited for this one. So over to you, Amma. Who you can choose who's gonna share their amazing story first.
Yeah, I will. And we have also, before we do, we've got the fabulous Tina watching. Hi, Tina. Thank you for tuning in. She's watching from the UK, my neck of the woods. Woohoo! Yeah, so as you said, we've come on to share about this wonderful business, but everything always starts with a why. And I will just jump in and just talk a little bit about my why, because we say that we have found a solution. So that means that we had pain points, and we know that there are just thousands and thousands of people out there with pain points, living on the hamster wheel of life, wanting a solution but not knowing what solution is out there. Some people may have even tried things in terms of another way in which to actually have that income, because it's all about having an income and be able to support your family if you're just the main breadwinner, if you're a couple. And doing that 9 to 5 isn't necessarily the way forward nowadays. You have burnout. I suffered from burnout. Everyone says, okay, your hair suits, but I actually lost my hair because of the stress. And the irony is, when I was going through that stage of life, because I knew no better, and I had to actually bring home the bacon, for want of a better word, meaning make sure that there was a roof over my son and I's head, I continued even through stress. I remember the days where I would get up, and before I got my son ready, I would sometimes just burst into tears and have a little cry, because I've been thinking about, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I'm tired, the alarm clock's just gone off, and I'm thinking, but I felt like I've just gone to sleep. You know, I'm starting this cycle again. And it was a case of trying to find a solution. I mentioned about my son having additional needs and also being a carer. So trying to juggle the 9 to 5, trying to be a carer, trying to be a mum, just trying to hold it all together. It was just so much. But when you don't know that there is a solution out there, or if you're like me, who has tried other things, because I did venture into things such as trading. Anyone who's done that knows that it's not a surefire way to be able to earn and, you know, have stability, because it is a very big risk. And I also went into property. That was another thing. So when I came across this business, what it was I was looking for the flexibility. I needed to have a flexibility as mum. I needed to have that kind of flexibility, and also as a carer. And I needed also to be able to have a way in which I could earn and be substantially present for my son. Anyone who knows my journey, who's seen my son, knows that he's actually entering adulthood, and I have missed a lot in his life. And we go through this thing in life and we want a change. Some of us may be afraid to actually take that change, and some of us don't do the change because we don't know how to do the change. We don't know the solution, you know. And that is one of the things about this show. We want to show people, like you said, Dave, that we are just everyday run-of-the-mill people that you would pass walking down the road, but you don't know. And we've been through the same things that you have been through, so we get it, but you don't know that we have found a solution and we are just killing it. So I'm going to pass it over to Barbara, because you're quite established. And when you were just introducing yourself and you were saying 6 grandchildren, I'm like, wow. And you were saying about, you know, 4 children, I was like, wow. And then you were doing the drum roll of all the careers that you've done. I'm just like, wow. And I think I can relate because we do some careers and it's like time to move on. You jump into something else and you realize that it's not as good as the one that you left. It's either the same or worse. And you jump into something else, you jump into something else. So with such a varied and wonderful history, do you want to talk a bit about yourself and what brought you into this digital journey?
All right. So when COVID came, you hearing me, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. When COVID came, I was just, you would say you were skeptic about the business. I was skeptic about COVID. And that drove me back to Jamaica. I took my kids out of school and I went back to Jamaica because I just didn't want to be here in the US. But what happened, my daughter, who was 16 at the time, she's now a business owner. She's still going to high school and she's one of business owner at the age of 18. She just couldn't do school online. So I was in Jamaica and I was like beating myself up because I'm saying to myself, I took this child from school, have her in Jamaica going to school online, and if she's failing high school. What do I do? So I came back to the US. And when I came back to the US, I was like, I'm not going back to my real estate office. I'm not going back to do CNA. I'm not going to do Uber, nothing. And I started looking online. What I was looking for, hell, I don't know. But I was just looking and I started to pray. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that God said, this is it. But I started to pray. And lo and behold, I saw my mentor's ad and I took action instantly. I did not if nor but. Honestly, at the time, when I paid that one-time fee, I went into my husband's bank account because, as I said, I just came back and I paid that 149, and I can't remember my girl's school over like something like 204. And I was when I sit and I watch that thing and I was looking at the clock to pick them up and I left the house at 1:30. Usually I would leave like quarter to 2. I was so excited, so I drove out, paid the 149 already and everything. So I wanted to tell them about it. 13-year-old, 16-year-old. I want to tell them because my husband was in Nantucket and I can call him and tell him I use his money. So I wanted to tell the kids so the kids could tell him. So anyway, so I pick up the girls and I make sure I carry lunch to them for them also. Something for them to eat, and they were in the car and I said, girls, I want to show you something. As soon as I go home, I want to show you something. And when I show it to them when we reach home, my 13-year-old, she was 16 this year, she said to me, Mommy, I don't even have to go to college. That was what she said to me. And I said, yes, I've found it. And today I can tell you guys, this is the best investment I've ever made.
Mhm.
Best investment ever made. I left Jamaica because I was told that my daughter had leukemia. She was
Oh.
8 years old, the same one that is part of the business now. She had blood cancer. To God be the glory, she's now healed. But that was why I left Jamaica 2014, July 15. And
Mhm.
I left Jamaica. I was in a rented house. I really wanted. So if you leave Jamaica in a rented house, you're in America, you're gonna come here, do everything because you don't want to go back to Jamaica and go a hotel. You need to find somewhere for yourself. And
Yes.
that was why I had so much things going on. Plus my husband is a carpenter on one of the
Mhm.
island, Nantucket. But guess what? It was still hand to mouth. Because if
Yeah.
you look at the rent here and everything, plus we have 2 kids going to school, it was still hand to mouth. And
Mhm.
so when I took action, I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know what I was getting into. But today, trust me, this business has paid off tremendously.
Mhm.
Tremendously. I would do this if I would do this a million time over.
Yeah.
A million time over. This business has changed my life and my family's life.
Mhm.
I go
It's
to go to Jamaica, you see, 6 weeks in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Six
Yeah,
weeks in Jamaica. And
you
I
can.
met up with you, Deb. Yeah, Debs.
Yeah.
So this business has changed my family's life tremendously.
Mhm.
Tremendously.
Sis,
And
what up, sorry, go on, Deborah. What was
And
it?
I just wanted to say that I know personally because I've met Sis Barbara now. We met last month for the very first time, which was amazing. And I could see that the time freedom that you have in your life now, that I know a lot of people would love that. So that in itself is probably the number one reason for me that this business works for me. I just wanted to add that. Go ahead, Emma. Sorry.
I wanted to ask you, Sis Barbara, because you were saying when you came back from Jamaica to the States, you have got a pretty good resume. Why did you not want to go back to any of those other professions? What?
Honestly, I was not, as I said, the same reason I went to Jamaica is the same reason when I came back, I didn't want to go back to be like mingling with anybody. I just
Mhm.
wanted, yeah. So because my husband is a little older, and I really wanted to make sure he was okay.
Mm,
Yeah.
So I just wanted to stay home and find something. I didn't even know what I was looking for.
mm,
And that's another beauty of this business, because I love listening to you saying that it actually gives people the ability to dictate what they do. When
mm,
you're doing that 9 to 5, you don't have that option. You
mm,
know, you're being dictated by an employer, or even not a 9 to 5, when you're actually, when you've got your the conventional business, you know, you have to physically be there as well. So you're right. That is one of the things about this business that is also just awesome. It's enabling people to be able to dictate
mhm.
how they actually live their life whilst they're making that revenue. Yeah.
And also, a lot of people think. I mean, for me, I've done the opposite. I've gone from the UK to Jamaica. Usually it's the other way around. So when you think about it, I think people go abroad because they think that it's going to be a lot easier. Okay, life is going to be a lot easier. Then they realise, actually, no, it isn't. It's so
Mm.
there are people, I've spoken to so many people this week that have in the UK that have just had enough of the life in the UK, the expenses, and the cost of living is rising so high, and everybody, it's not everyone, but the people that I've been speaking to, they're struggling and they've just had enough. So it's not all bed and roses when you go abroad. So we need to find something that works. All right, we are not supposed to be living on this earth to struggle, okay,
No,
financially, and not have the time freedom to spend with our loved ones and our families. You know, we are not supposed to be living like that.
you are so right, and that's why we put in about the diaspora, because that is what happens when you're coming from your motherland and
Mhm.
you venture out to another country. It's because you think the grass is greener. You're going to have such a rosy life, and lo and behold, when you come to the diaspora, you realize that just to even cover your daily living, some people are doing like 2 or 3 jobs. Some people will come with high qualifications thinking they can jump into that field that they were doing back home, and they're going to get more money, and they get a big reality shock when they realize that their qualification isn't even recognized and they have to go back to studying. So yeah, life in the diaspora isn't as rosy as we sometimes think. And we are going to turn to you, Geraldine. Sis Geraldine, if you want to share a bit of your story, your journey, and why you decided that you wanted to.
Yeah, I came here much later in my life. Moved here looking for greener pastures as well. Um, yeah, when I got here, it was a cultural shock. It was a shock of all sorts. I didn't know I could do. I always say I do a 5 to 9. Everyone does a 9 to 5. I did a 5 to 9. That I hit the ground running. That's what, because I had to make a living, I had to survive, I had to support people back home. And yeah, it wasn't easy, but it was worth it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I am today. I, yeah, even at a young age, I always prayed for a business of some sort. I never
Mhm.
knew what I wanted to do, but as a child, in my mind, I had these things of I'm going to own a shop and I'm going to call my shop this and I'm going to do that, which it never happened because I could never afford to. And I used to say I'm a small scale business owner, and I'd be selling this and buying this and doing all sorts of things. But of course, they didn't go very far. And then just last year, I turned 60 and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this to myself anymore. I was like, this is where the buck stops. I'm going to find something that I'm going to do just for time freedom. For one, I love to travel, love to travel, my passion. So I cannot travel if I'm working my 5 to 9. There is just no way.
Mhm.
And I wanted that freedom of not traveling on somebody else's, having to ask for permission to travel. I
Yeah.
want to
I,
travel when I want to. If
Yeah.
I get up today and say I'm going, I'm going,
Yeah.
Whereas now I can't do that. I've got to
no,
first put in an application and I've got to write a whole resume of why I want to go. I don't want to do that anymore. It's just not, I'm too old for that. I'm too old on living on somebody else's terms. I want to live on my own terms. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And
Can
so
I?
I went onto the internet and I was searching. I saw all sorts of people and advertising all sorts of things. I saw Ama, listened
mhm.
to a whole story, went past it. I was like, nah, scam. Carried on. I carried on. I looked again. I found somebody, I found a lady from my own home country also talking about the same thing. And I was like, nah, okay. I went back to Amma again, listened to her again. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Let me ask this lady. I think I'm convinced now.
Awesome.
So I
Awesome.
clicked on her and I was like, if she can come on with her son, why would she want to come and scam anybody with her son? That just, yeah, it didn't make sense at all. But yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Can I?
So
I,
I was happy that I did that.
Can I ask you, Geraldine? Sorry. Can I ask you, Geraldine? At what point? What was that tipping point for you when you decided? Okay. Do you even remember the day? Because I remember the day when it happened to me. Do you remember thinking that is it? I have just had enough. It's a time for a change. Do you
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that?
On my birthday, I turned 60 and I just felt that way.
So
It
it was
just
that. It was that
it
day.
hit me like a ton of bricks. I
Yeah.
didn't know. I actually didn't know what I was feeling, and I was like, I wonder if I'm feeling all right. Is something wrong? Not, my spirit just wasn't settled. I
Hmm.
yeah,
couldn't just settle into anything, and I was like, I have to change. I just can't do this anymore. I
Hmm.
can't do it to myself. I was doing it to the people around me because I didn't know what I was feeling. I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, I had to find something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm glad I searched.
Yeah.
I was just in fits when you were telling because I remember the conversation that we had, and that was it. One of the things was about traveling. And I remember you saying, "What nonsense is this that I have to ask someone when I can go away, write an essay to tell them why I can go away?" And I was just laughing, remembering that conversation. But you took the action, and
Yeah.
a lot of people are afraid to take the action. We may have our own perceptions as to why. For me, one of the things I think is people are just they're so used to. I hate calling it the comfort zone, so I call it the familiarity zone because it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable if you're in a position where you're constantly stressed and 5 days out of 7 days of the week, you're going into that area where you know you're going to be stressed. You know that you're going to do a KMT. For those who don't know, that means kiss my teeth in your head a lot of times. You're going to be mingling with people that you don't necessarily want to, and it's so that you can make that revenue. And so, because you know that you're going to get something at the end of the month, and sadly, it's not always covers what you need or gives you the ability to put something aside or go on holiday, but it's so familiar, you're going to put yourself through that. So that's one of my thoughts as to why people don't take action. What about you, ladies? What do you think why people don't take action?
Well, I, did you want to go, Sis Barbara?
All right. So, some people are just comfortable where they are, literally comfortable where they are. Because I was talking to one of my downline today and this morning, and we were coming from the church. So that's where we start. So I was trying to make some comparison. Like we grew up doing this thing, and because we grew up doing these things, we think it's the thing. We don't want to change nothing because this is what we know. My mother used to make porridge this way, so I'm gonna make porridge this way, and don't tell me that's not how the porridge is to
Yes,
be made. You
yes.
see what I'm saying? But what I get to understand is if you want stagnation, what do? You sit in the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
How do you move forward? You put one foot in front of each other and then you go. But if
Mm-hmm.
you just stand there, you're not going anywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the same thing with your finances, your health is the same thing. For anything to get better, you have to change and your mindset has to change.
Yes.
You can't be doing the same thing over and over. That's a cycle and it nothing will get better. So if
Yes.
you're going to work 9 to 5, sorry, if you're going to your 9 to 5 and you're um KMT, yes, and you're KMT, every single day you're gonna be stressed.
Yeah.
Something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Something is wrong. And as Geraldine said, at 60, you don't even look 60. I'll have to say that.
I
Thank you.
know.
Yeah,
Doesn't.
yeah. And at 60, she realized that something is definitely wrong. Something is
Mm-hmm.
definitely wrong. What did she do? She took action. She
Yes.
took actions, and now her life has a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
It only way her life can go back is if she chooses to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what? This business, while you're willing to put in the work, like you go to anybody's job and you put in the work, if you're willing to spend time, even half an hour, 10 minutes per day on your business. I started 2 years and tomorrow, Tuesday, the sixth will be 2 years and 6 months. And if I just started the business and just leave it there and do nothing,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be this comfortable today. I don't work for anybody. I do not, and this is not yesterday. 2 years and 6 months now. From the day I found this business, I have not worked for anybody,
Mm-hmm.
and my life is way better, way better.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Whatever you're doing, if you're just sitting there and you have people whisper in your ears and telling you, no, no, you're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
a no person. And if you're gonna look at anything at all in your life, I was saying, if you have a relationship and the relationship gets sour, what are you gonna say? Oh, I won't have another one?
Yeah.
That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense. So for anything to change, you have to change, and nobody can do it for you.
Oh
Last
my
night,
goodness.
last night, this gentleman he called me, and we were talking, and he's from the islands. I think he's from Antigua, and he was talking to me, and he was so negative, and I was like, I had to sit and have the conversation with him, but I said to him, listen, I do not like negativity. I would never ever tell you to do something that you don't want to do, because I'm not going to do it for you. You
Amen.
have to be that responsible person. So,
Hmm.
any one of us, if we want to change anything in our life, we have to set the example. And if you're going to start with a but, if you
Yes.
already doom yourself, that's how I
Yeah,
see it.
Hmm.
yeah.
I
So
oh my gosh, I have so much to say on this subject. But before I go into one, we did tell you that this business is global. So we have Natasha from
yes.
Spain
Mm-hmm.
watching. Hi, Natasha.
Sure.
What part of Spain are you watching from? I'm interested.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to touch a little, not a little bit, on what Sis Barbara is saying about mindset. Okay. Now, for me, it all started with my mindset. So I'm going to quickly tell you my story, how I actually got started. So, as I said, I was a finance officer back in the UK, and I was a finance officer for 16 years. Okay, and I know a lot of you have heard my story before, but for those of you that haven't, one evening I was working like long hours, and I was exhausted. Like every day, I was coming home exhausted. And one evening, I passed out. I fainted, and I was out for 2 minutes. And when I came through, I was with my neighbour, my friend at the time, and my son was downstairs. And they were standing over me when I came through, and I didn't know what had happened to me. All I knew is that I couldn't stand up. My legs were like jelly. I couldn't stand up. I didn't know what was happening. And when I did try to stand up, the room just kept spinning and spinning, and I couldn't balance myself. So anyway, they called the paramedics. Paramedics put me to bed. And to cut a long story short, I didn't go to work for 7 months. I was at home trying to get better. And then I had a lot of time to think about my life and my work. And I knew, like deep down in my heart, that I did not want to go back to work. Okay, I did not want to go back being a finance officer. That's not what I wanted for my life, and I know that was God. That God wasn't was not giving me that plan. So I thought of all the ways that I could leave my job while I was still at home, and I thought to myself, do you know what, Deb? If you don't make that decision to leave, you're going to stay in that job until you retire, and that's not what you want. You want to live your life with freedom. You want to live your life with some kind of freedom. You don't want to be waking up every morning to an alarm clock. You don't want to go to your boss and ask your boss, okay, can I have time off? Because I love to travel, and I just wasn't traveling at the time because I couldn't. And it was so frustrating for me. I just felt like I wasn't in control of my life, and I needed to take back control of my life. So when I did finally go back to work, I walked into my office, I looked around the room, and all of a sudden I burst into tears. And I couldn't console myself because there's something inside of me saying, Deb, if you don't do this now, when are you ever going to do it? So my boss walked in, she pulled me into her office. I was crying my eyes out, and I said to her, I'm really sorry, I can't work here anymore. I need the time freedom for myself. And she was really, really good about it. Anyway, I handed in my notice that day. I didn't know where I was going. I had a mortgage to pay. Didn't even know how that was going to work out. But anyway, cut a long story short, I found this online business. Okay, a few years later, and during that time, I was traveling a little bit, but I needed the cash because when you travel, you need cash, right? So I came across this ad of my mentor, and I kind of knew I was a little bit skeptical at first. I'm thinking this just looks so good to be true, too good to be true. And but something said to me, no, I think this is it. This is it, Debs. I think this is what you've been looking for, because I wanted an online business, and it just came in front of me, and I thought, oh, this is it. So that's how I found this online business, and it's all because I changed my mindset. Went back to mindset. There's a lot of people out there, and I know because I've been talking to a lot of them recently, that are afraid of taking that next step. All right. And the thing is, if you're going to stay afraid, you're going to stay exactly where you are.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You must not be afraid. Feel it in your heart. Is this the right thing for you to do? Okay, just feel it, and your body's trying to tell you. So it's your mindset is a hard thing to get over. I know, because
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
struggling with it for years, you know. But I've learned to control it in my mind. And if I had listened to all that negative chatter all those years ago, I wouldn't be where I am today. I travel whenever I want to. I wake up whenever I want to. Last year I traveled to I'm not bragging, I'm just saying what this business can do for you. I traveled to 6 countries last year, and I live in that time freedom, and it feels wonderful. And
Mm,
God, everybody can have that. If they just believe and have faith in themselves, they can have that as well.
definitely. Mindset, coming out of the familiarity zone, taking action. Do you have any thoughts, Geraldine, sis Geraldine, why people remain where they are and they don't take action?
I also think it's the comfort thing. You just get set in your ways. You get into this rut where nothing else matters. You're just doing the same thing over and over again, and not wanting to think outside your own box. Really, you just get comfortable doing what you're doing. But of course, it's not for everyone. Some people do get uncomfortable, like I did. I really got uncomfortable where I was, and had to look.
Mhm.
It's so true. um, Before we go, because we've just gone slightly over, Debs, do you want to tell people, because I'm sure there's people watching who'd like to know more and how they can, the first steps to find out more about the business.
Yeah. Well, first of all, this is going to be playing on each of our Facebook pages. So reach out to whoever you're watching this from, and they will link you up. Okay, you would need to give your name and your email address, and register first of all for our complimentary workshop. And that workshop will give you a bit of a background about the business. All right,
Yeah,
it's quite simple, and it's a complimentary, so you don't have to pay anything.
yeah, that's
Mm.
exactly it. And any last words, ladies? I'm so afraid I'm going to start coughing before we go that you want to impart on our viewers.
I would want to say, before I go, is that let your decision be your decision. Just consider where you are now and where you want to be in the next year or so. If it's okay if you want to be stagnant, just stay right there. But if you're looking for change, real change, just come in and join us. Reach out to any of the four of us, and we are ready and willing to help you
Mhm.
get started.
Yeah, and don't think that you can't do this. As we said, we're ordinary people. There's teachers, there's nurses, there's construction workers, there's carpenters, there's all sorts of people doing this business. So don't think that you can't. Okay.
Is there anything that you'd like to say, Geraldine? Any last parting words?
Yeah, well, just to say, take action.
Yes.
That's very,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Oh, guys,
Well,
I love having you guys on. It's been amazing, and
it's
thank you
been
so much
amazing.
for sharing your stories. Okay.
Yes,
Go ahead,
I'm
Emma.
sure the viewers have enjoyed it because you both have amazing stories. Um, we all just wanted to show you that we have gone through life, we get it, but the difference is we actually took action because there is a point where you need to take that action and we don't want it to be when it's too late, i.e.,
Mhm.
when there's no more life to live. Life is for living. So, whilst you're living, take action, take back control, find that liberation that you so desire, or maybe it's just a case that you want to top up whatever it is. It's down to you. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Um, thank you everyone for tuning in. We will be back in a fortnight with some more fabulous guests. Thank you, Sis Barbara. Thank you, Sis Geraldine, because I know you're both very busy ladies for taking the time out to come on and share a bit of your journey. And also thank you everyone who's watched and thank you everyone who will be watching later. We are going to love you and leave you. So take care for now. Bye.
Bye, guys. Join us
Bye.
next time.